What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. Got another video for y'all today. Um, so this video also by CNBC. I know I'll be touching base on a lot of CNBC stuff, but I'm gonna switch it up at some time. It's just that they be having a lot of stuff I want to talk about. But anyway, um, so it's something going on in the auto industry, and I kind of seen this coming since the past few years now. A lot of customers, well, it's fewer customers out here, like, actively buying cars, trucks, like, it's a lot of stuff going on. And I see why it's going on, because the cost of living is going up, prices are going up on stuff like, hobbies, clothes, shoes, groceries, gas. I mean, well, I know gas is going down, but it's not as cheap as it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. But prices on cars are going up. And I said this before, y'all. I don't know when people are going to like do the switch, but people, like I said, people may go for use, but even if the whole population of people in America go for used cars, then the used car market will go up. It's just like the housing market, y'all. Whatever people go for the most that's what's going to be driving the sales in the market. That's how prices go up. That's why they always say it's best to do the opposite of what everybody else is doing. If everybody's going for new trucks and nobody wants sedans, then just go. Then everybody should move for not everybody should move for sedans, but the people should just try to, okay, I can't get me a truck, but I need something to, to get me back and forth to work. Maybe I can go buy a car for the cheaper price, because no one is buying these cars. They all going for these trucks. It's like vice versa. But I wonder when people are going to start going for like motorcycles, or because motorcycles are cheap, or maybe scooters, like electric scooters, or mopeds, bicycles. But knowing people in America, they like driving. Everybody like driving cars. Can not everybody live in an environment where it's predictable weather, like in California or something like that. So I get it, but I'm just wondering if it's going to be a dramatic shift in the market. But I know if everybody go for bikes and motorcycles and mopeds, then that's going to go up. So the reason why those things are not that expensive, because a lot of people don't go for it. So if they do drive the cost and motorcycles and all the other stuff, two wheelers and three wheelers, and even four wheelers like the ATVs, then they're gonna be like, okay, a lot of people want them now, so now we're gonna drive the prices up. Because like I said, if they make it expensive, a lot of people not gonna buy it, and they're gonna lose money out of it anyway. So I'm just curious of what might happen 5 to 10 years. Will automakers change their prices? Will they increase their price? I mean, will they up their price, or will they decrease their price? Will people move to a different way of commuting, or maybe just using travel by buses and trains, bicycling? We have to see, y'all. But let's get to it.
In 2026, the auto industry in the US is expected to sell about 1.5 million fewer units than it did when the industry hit record sales about a decade ago. According to some, this isn't a temporary slump. It's the beginning of a structural decline. Annual US car sales could fall to 13.7 million units by 2040. Demographics, technology, and changing behavior all point to a permanent shift.
It is the perfect storm, isn't it? It starts with population declines. You're no longer a growth industry.
Then that shift that he was talking about, that's exactly what I was just talking about, that shift. And now he about to talk about the population decline. We're not even there yet. We probably won't even notice that until like maybe like 20, I said 20, uh, to 100, year to 100 or more than, or years after that. Um, they need to focus on the now. Can't really focus that far into the future. I don't think the population decline. I mean, it's there, but it's not going to be that noticeable in our generation. Generations to come, yeah, but not in our generation. But it will affect, if it keep going, it will affect our generation. But we're not going to really notice the decline in like less people as of right now. But that's another story for someone else to talk about. I'm surprised he even mentioned that.
We're a declining industry at a time when the technology is disrupting everything.
There are a few factors that together could result in about 2 million fewer US new car sales by 2040. First, population. US population growth has slowed and at this point depends entirely on immigration. If immigration policies tighten, the auto market is bound to stagnate or shrink. Second, consumer behavior. About half of 16-year-olds.
But like I said, that population, that don't affect us to the that's things things are like domino effect. Like it's things are like dominoes. Cause and effect. We won't see that until years later. I don't know why they even talking about that. That shouldn't. They just want to talk about some. They just want to talk on bullshit, on BS. They just want to talk on BS because that had nothing to do with the car market right now. We won't see that until years later, until after I die and everybody else die that's living right now. We won't be able to see that. The only kids that may be able to see what's going on, if that were to happen, I'm just keep it brief. If that were to happen, only kids that would see results like that is kids that's like between maybe 1 to 15 years old right now, and probably still being born as today. Then next,
are not even getting driver's licenses.
When I was 16, everybody was waiting for the day their birthday came around to run down to the DMV and get their license. So that is definitely a factor and a trend that is impacting this.
By age 25, most people do have a license, but they're confronted with vehicle prices that are too high, which keep them out of the car market. For Sam Fiorani of Auto Forecast Solutions, the primary threat to vehicle volumes is price.
We're still seeing groups of young people who enjoy driving and want a new car, but fewer can afford it. You need the younger people, the less wealthy people of us, to start buying new vehicles.
Third,
so what about the used car market? Y'all talking about new cars. What about the used car market? A lot of young people I know, younger than me, don't want a brand new car. They would like a brand new car, but they usually go for used cars that's like less than 10 grand. So of course they're not going to buy a new car, but they going to see. I think I know what they're getting at. They're trying to say if they make these new vehicles, they're gonna lose a lot of money because no one won't buy these new vehicles. So they're not even gonna mention the used car market. They're not gonna talk about people buying 1994s and early 2000 and 2010s. They're not gonna talk about that. And a lot of people not buying new cars. Number one, nobody trying to pay too much money on a payment like it's a mortgage payment. Your APR is higher than 5%, and most people got good ass credit. Let's continue.
technology. Auto industry forecaster Mark Godfredson said that if autonomous vehicle tech improves enough to become mainstream, the share of the population with driver's licenses could drop by about 2 to 3% by 2040. Autonomous vehicles could also stand to reduce the number of cars per driver. Historically, that has been about 1.2.
We expect that, in the next 10 years or so to drop to about 1.1 vehicles per driver.
Perhaps the most direct indicator is not the rate at which people buy cars, it's the rate at which they get rid of them.
This is the one that people don't think about, but is actually the biggest factor in the number of new vehicles that are sold.
In 2000, about 6% of all cars were deregistered in any given year. That's basically a vehicle that's no longer getting registered because it's getting scrapped or sent out of the country. And those cars needed to be replaced with new ones sooner or later. By early 2026, that fell to about 5%. Godfredson estimates it could drop to 4.4 by 2040. Old cars are lasting longer, a record 12.8 years on the road in 2025. New cars are safer and more sophisticated, but that technology carries a price.
Collision avoidance, ADAS systems, all kinds of new technologies that weren't even dreamt of 15 years ago are now becoming standard on everything. So we're going to see those vehicles continue to be more expensive and more people trying to find ways to keep their car on the road longer.
As with all forecasts, things could change. An EV tech breakthrough could spur a boom in vehicle sales. The US could dramatically liberalize its immigration policy. Robotaxis could be a long way off. Godfredson's research does include a base case of about 15.7 million new car sales in 2040, which is slightly below S&P Global Mobility and Cox Automotive forecasts for 2026. This case assumes licensing rates remain stable, immigration stays at about 900,000 people per year, population growth is about 0.3 to 0.4% year over year, and there's about 1.2 cars per person. Up until recently, Godfredson expected this structural demand decline to hit as soon as 2030, but the rollout of new technology, especially self-driving cars, is taking longer than many in the
They think everything about to change by 2030. We're supposed to get EVs, all EVs in America by 2030. That didn't happen. They said something about population. I remember they was complaining about the population being too much by 2030 to 2050. Hey, these statistics, they just theories and hypotheses. They're not bare bone facts. They're not just facts. They just theories.
industry had forecast.
I think our perspective on autonomy and sort of vehicle shedding has probably gone a little bit slower than we had anticipated. And so it may be a little bit later that we get there.
We've been listening to companies tell us that they're going to have autonomous vehicles in 5 years for 15 years now.
But the birth rate variable is locked in.
We already know how many people have been born and how many people will be of vehicle driving age at age 16 in 16 years from now. And so we can say with quite a bit of certainty that when we get to 2040, we're going to see some decline in the US. That decline is even worse in places like Europe and in places like most of the countries in Asia now.
At the global level, there are some caveats. First, many markets, most notably China, that might be poised for a population drop, still have relatively low vehicle penetration. But populations in dozens of countries are already shrinking, and global growth is slowing faster than expected. If immigration continues to boost the US population, it will be an increasingly important market for global automakers trying to compensate for stagnation and decline in other parts of the world.
The competition in the US is going to be ferocious. And I think that there's too many automakers and too many brands competing for the consumers.
Auto Forecast Solutions is expecting annual US volumes to stagnate through 2033, the furthest year in the future for which the company makes forecasts.
The market is right-sized, and new players are just going to make that tighter and tighter. We're going to see Chinese manufacturers coming into the US market eventually. And when that happens, it's going to put the squeeze.
They need to bring them to the US market. Like I said, shake the damn box. Shake that box, get everybody on there, get everybody up off their ass, and make affordable vehicles. I'm gonna keep saying that. But all this immigration and the video is about automotive manufacturers, companies, forget about immigration. I get it. If everybody were to go disappear like Thanos did in Avengers, then it won't. Everybody can't buy the cars. They will lose profit and money because no one is. The population is too low for to make a lot of money and all this other crap. I get it, but the point is the main point is a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford these cars any damn way. No matter how many people is in America. No matter how many people are living in America, these cars are going to be unaffordable anyway. The average car price is already at $50,000, and maybe in 2 years it might be at $60,000. It just don't make no sense, man. Just don't make no sense. But that's the video, y'all. But I think this video, out of all CNBC videos I've seen and watched, this one kind of rubbed me the wrong way, just a little bit, because of what they was talking about. There is more to it than just immigration, and population decline and stuff. There's more to it than that. You're not gonna get sales if y'all selling, and I think one guy did say you're not gonna get sales if only rich people can afford it. I said this before, and I'm gonna say this another freaking time. If you make cars only for the rich, only the rich can buy these cars. It's only a small percent of rich people in America. There's still only a small percent of rich people in the world. It's been like this since mankind made currency money. You got some people that's rich that has power, and you got some people that's not rich. They're poor, or they're average consumers. Average people that make average amount of money, but they still can get by day to day. They still, y'all have to make cars for all demographics, low class to high class, and people won't be complaining because, like me, I drive a Honda Civic. I like my car. It may not be a Mustang. I mean, I like Mustangs, but it may not be a Mustang. It may not be a Porsche 911. It may not be a Toyota Supra, a Rolls Royce, a Lambo, a McLaren. But even me personally, if and this is me telling y'all this, me personally, I don't want a luxury exotic car. If I had money, I would probably go for or maybe the Mustang. Maybe, or I would go for the Toyota Supra without the BMW interior crap. No offense to BMW, I love BMWs, but I just don't. I just wish Toyota just made Toyota interior. I just wanted to be Toyota, is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, moving on from going to a deep rabbit hole on that one. Make cars affordable for the consumers, for people for the people that want to that can afford it. Not everybody makes $1,000 a year and more. Most people make less than $100,000, right? You have to make cars for all demographics because, to be honest, if they want to talk about America being all stabilized with the population growth and all this other crap, if people for America to run, and America been running like this for years before I was even born, before my grandparents was even born. The way America is ran is from the backs of middle class citizens. That's how it always been. So when middle class citizens do their damn job, America, the government rewards them. They say, okay, they doing their job. We gonna make the cost this. We gonna make pensions that. We gonna get them a home. We gonna get them, a family. But now it's like you doing all this in America, like give a crap, give me your money. There's no rewards, there's no incentives. So if everybody can't drive to work because they can't afford a car, if everybody can get to work on time, and most importantly, what if the job is so far out of reach they can't even go there? The bus is out of reach, the train is, they might gotta get off the train and take an Uber there. It's just too much. You know what I'm saying? So people may not want to go to work because they ain't got no car with freedom. They can't go buy, I mean, I know it's mostly online shopping and delivery nowadays, but cars give people more access. And like I said, I can go through a whole rabbit hole about America and the government, but I ain't gonna talk about all that. I'm trying to stay strictly on cars, which they should have did too. Besides some of all the other crap about immigration and population declines. What I'm trying to say is automakers need to make cars affordable for the consumers. BYD is doing it for the Chinese market, for the European market, for the European market. Slate is doing it for the American market. Other companies gotta other companies have to wake the hell up and do the same thing. That's all I'm trying to say. Anyway, y'all, that's the end of the video. That's the end of me ranting. That's the end. Not gonna say no more. But anyway, y'all keep your head up. I know life can be tough sometimes, but just try to get by. Stay positive. Speak to someone. It's always good to talk, y'all. But anyway, thank y'all for watching. And remember, y'all, stay driven.